And we're just going to run a top stitch down the edge. Take your next block, open the casing, and just do the same thing. To join rows, we're going to do the same thing, only we're going to run our sash and a dash across the row. You can run a beautiful embroidery stitch down here to embellish sash and a dash, or you can even put a strip of fabric down here. Here's an example where we added a fabric strip by folding under raw edges and top stitching over sash and a dash. And if you like to make t-shirt quilts, go ahead and quilt your blocks and then join them with sash and a dash.
Let the name put you off. The Go Turkey Giblets block on board, or Bob die, creates a stunning classic quilt block that you're sure to love. This block looks complicated to create, but the Turkey Giblets die has all the pieces for this block on just one die board, making short work of cutting the 12-inch finished block in just one pass through a Go or Go Big fabric cutter. Specialized dog ears and screen-printed letters on the die make it simple to keep track of your pieces while you chain piece. Traditionally, this block is created with just 2 colors to let the design shine. But don't stop there. Get creative with your color placement to see what other looks you can create. You can also pair this die with the Go Cube sets and 12-inch setting triangles. You're sure to be amazed at how quickly and easily your blocks will come together to create projects like throw quilts, table runners, and wall hangings. The Go Turkey Giblets die will gobble up your scraps in no time, because at AccuQuilt we help you cut time so you can quilt more. Quilters, today's show is all about sewing units to make blocks for this AQS AccuQuilt-Along.
Stay tuned and join in the fun.
Hi Quilters, I'm Pam Hiller, AccuQuilt's cutting expert.
And I'm Erica Botker, AccuQuilt's creativity expert.
All right, welcome to part 2 of the Go Classic Storm at Sea AQS AccuQuilt-Along. Today we're going to show you how to sew your units together to create these single sashing blocks.
That's right. Now, Quilters, in case you missed it, the first show for this Quilt-Along series was our introduction at the end of an AccuQuilt Live. We went over some of the basics of the pattern, and then last Wednesday, we went over cutting and organizing our pieces. Now, there's also Go Storm at Sea traditional rotary cutting directions that are available in the introductory blog, both from AccuQuilt and AQS. But Pam and I are using the Go Storm at Sea die to make ours.
Right. Now, it's beneficial to watch those shows before you start on the Go Classic Storm at Sea Throw Quilt. So be sure to check it out on AccuQuilt's video gallery, Facebook page, or YouTube channel. Now, don't forget to join the AQS Project Parade Facebook page. Be sure and share your fabrics and your blocks. We've already seen some pretty fabrics. I'm super excited about it. And post any questions you might have there. Eric and I are members, so we're going to answer your questions while we're in there.
That's right. Okay, so we have our finished quilt hanging up behind us, and here's a sample of my block. I'm going with my blue period still.
Yes. Yes, and do you want to talk about the sashing, Erica?
So this is what we call a single sashing block, and that means that we've got our square unit here, square and a square unit here, and then we have these units on just the top and the side.
Yep.
Now, if we were to go ahead and finish this out all the way around this center block, then when we put our blocks together, we would have double the sashing.
Right.
Otherwise, and it's a great design either way. This is our classic, so it just has the single.
Right. Now, having said that, you could also find lots of patterns that use that double sashing.
Yes.
Which means you're using 2 of those triangle or diamond and rectangle units.
Yes.
And we actually have a couple of double sashing patterns available on the AccuQuilt website.
That's right. So as I mentioned, Pam and I both use the Go Storm at Sea block on board die, or bob die, to cut our quilt pieces, and that means all the shapes that we need to make a single block are on one die board. It's an AccuQuilt innovation. It saves you so much time and fabric too.
Exactly. Now, each Storm at Sea block, so I'm going to hold up mine, are comprised of 4 separate units. So there's this unit here in the corner, which is the square and a square and a square.
Right.
There's a bigger version of that, square and a
Right.
square and a square. And then these diamonds in a rectangle. And you're going to need 2 of those and then just a small and a big one of those square and a squares.
So it's a 4-patch.
It is.
But it is going to feel asymmetrical to you.
Right. Here is our biggest pro tip. Cut all your pieces first.
Yes.
And count the pieces according to the pattern. We
Right.
talked about that last week.
We did.
Because otherwise you're going to think, oh, wait, I cut too many of these and not enough of these. And just keep track of your pattern.
Trust the process.
Yes. Then we're also going to tell you that you want to sew all the individual units. So this is that diamond and a rectangle.
Right.
First, before you sew your blocks together.
Right.
And that way you can just chain piece for days.
Right. Because then it's going to make it easy to pull that whole unit together.
Yes.
So that, and then
Do you have a big one done?
I do.
Look at you.
I do.
Okay. There you go.
I guess I'll put 2 of these up there. 'cause
There you
really
go,
need
so you
those.
know.
So that's what we're gonna work on sewing these
units
3
together.
units and then show you how they go together to build your blocks.
Right.
Now,
Next week, we're going to sew our blocks together.
Oh, I thought next week we were sewing our rows together.
Oh, you are correct. So yes, this week we will sew our blocks together.
Okay. So all the instructions, because clearly we get a little confused.
Yeah.
We know you might too. So be sure you download those free instructions, the free pattern, and the Go Storm at Sea block assembly directions from AccuQuilt.com.
Right.
Whether you're cutting in a traditional method or not, you're still going to want the assembly directions. So we're going to start by sewing the square in a square in a square unit. Now,
Right.
are we going to start with the small one or the big one?
I think we're going to do F and G and H, so the big ones.
Okay.
And I'm going to give you kind of a little pro tip. You don't just sew one unit at a time.
Oh, yes.
So for example, I'm just going to show you with these two. Kenyon, are we good? Where should I put these? Right here? Okay, so what you're going to need is you're going to need 4 of these. Oh, here, I'll show you here on this. I'll move it here. Then you can see it. So here's F, it's that center square, and these are quarter square triangles, and you're going to need them on all 4 sides. I'm just going to do 2, okay, while I demo this. All right, now, when you start to sew them, just sew opposite sides. So I'm
Right.
going to start with this side and sew, and then I'm going to sew this side. And why do we want to do that, Erica?
Well, because then we're going to want to press those before we go to the opposite sides.
Right.
So it's just like when you're making flying geese.
Right, and look, we've cut off the dog ears, so look how perfect those shapes align together. Thank you, Kenyon. Look at that. Okay, so we're just going to start, and don't forget, this is a great chain piecing. It's great for scraps or your stash, but it is really an easy pattern to sew together. Didn't you think, Erica?
It really is. It's put some TV on
Yeah.
or a podcast or whatever you're,
Listen to some music, whatever makes you
whatever
happy.
take snacks.
And Eric and I, for days as we were sewing these together, making some of our samples, I would say, what are you doing? She'd say, oh, sewing Storm and Sea units together. Because you really do want to sew those units together before you move on to make your blocks.
Yes.
Though we did cheat and we each made a block, just so we could see what it looked like.
Well, we did.
Okay.
And that's okay if you want to do that.
Yes.
Just remember when you're cutting.
Right, and look, there we go.
You
Lined
already
up on the
sewed
other side.
2? Oh,
I'm just sewing 2 together. Because that way we can show the, excuse me, I have the hiccups.
but yes, we definitely like chain piecing, and so sewing all of one and then sewing the next. You're
Yeah.
going to need 35 of these units
Right.
for your quilt, the way the pattern's written, which isn't to say that you can't decide that you want to make it bigger. Because you
Right.
certainly can.
Right. Okay, so now that I've sewn one, I like to give it a little press,
Yes.
and then I'm going to press it away towards the outside of the block. And Erica, we kind of talked about, a lot of times quilters are going to ask us, they're going to say, oh, should I press my seams open? And you certainly could.
Yes, you could. Pam and I both kind of like to press to the dark side, and it works well with this particular pattern.
And now you'll notice as I've pressed it out, oh, Erica can show you on hers.
Yeah.
She's pressed it out, then those sides, those side quarter square triangles are going to fit perfectly because we've cut off the dog ears. And like we said, if you have questions, you can go to the AQS Project Parade Facebook page on Facebook and just post your questions. Eric and I live there. We have space there. The nice people at AQS let us have space there.
That's right.
So that way we can just get in there and go. And I really found this really quite comforting as I was just sewing my pieces.
Sewing your pieces along.
Yeah, just
But I
happy.
do love how the dog ears are just perfect, because
Yeah.
sometimes the square in a square, with the square on point, it doesn't have those specialized dog ears. And
Right.
so you're not gonna see that, and quilters kind of freak out.
Yeah.
But it all works out in the end.
It does. It does. Just kind of trust the process. And this is actually a really good skill to learn because I love square and a square. It's one of my favorite blocks.
Yeah, this is just a fun block to use up scraps, to.
Yep. Okay. So we're just adding those outer quarter square triangles. And I loved Erica's tip about just putting the pieces together that you're going to sew together. Like my F and G and H are all together, and my A's and B's are all together, so that I can do that. Did I get them all? Yeah.
Yes, I just have to every once in a while stop and really look at mine to see which is the right and the wrong side of my white.
Oh, yes. Well, it's funny you say that because my center square there, I realized that it, it kind of has a pattern on the back as well, and I had to do the same thing. I was like, wait,
Yes.
wait.
Okay. There we go.
And now I also press from the back so that I can see that it's matching those points and it's making that pretty square. If they're not straight, unsew them. Okay, don't just think, oh, it'll be fine, it'll work out. Because if this isn't a square, when you go to add shape H, your finished project, your finished unit will not be a square.
So I kind of like to roll mine out
Yep.
towards the outside. And then as Pam said, it's always good practice to flip it over and give it a press
Yep.
on the other side as well. And you can see that nice square really pops.
Yeah. And then now when Erica goes to add that shape H, which is her contrasting blue, it's going to look so pretty.
And we talked about doing this as scrappy, and you could do it scrappy with tones or with certain colors.
What do you mean?
Well, so you could do like all scrappy dark blues,
Oh,
and
I see what
scrappy
you're
light
saying.
blues,
Right.
and scrappy whites.
Right.
Because do you not have a million different whites in your drawer?
So many.
Okay.
So many.
So now it's the same process, and again,
And I think it would be fun, Erica, if I did that, to have the center square be the same in every block.
oh, yeah.
So,
So it has a little bit more continuity.
yeah. What is that one quilt? Okay, we talk about this all the time. The one pineapple quilt that has the black centers. Remember? You know which one I'm talking about. And I always think,
the scrappy pineapple. I think
Yeah.
it's called the scrappy pineapple.
look at us knowing things. But it has a black center square in some of those. And I think this would be a really fun project to do a black center and then just all sorts of different colors on the outside. And then I love the idea of scrappy white. I
I
am,
have
however,
so
loving
many.
my Halloween autumn fabrics.
Yes.
We went, Eric and I very seldom have the same color wheel. But we went together to get this fabric, and it was fun to see kind of,
It's not that we don't shop together, it's that we usually end up shopping different colors together.
yeah.
But we also help each other find.
Oh my, yes. Okay, so here I am. I'm gonna press out this H. And look, see how perfect that point is? I do love that.
And we're going to talk about how to keep those perfect points when we sew these units together
Yes.
too.
And we talk about units, quilters, because the units sewn together make the block. So don't, the terminology is important.
Well, it is. It is. So I'm going to go ahead, set those seams again,
Okay.
and then I'm again rolling out to the outside.
It's been fun to see what colors people are using. Because Storm at Sea classically is those blue colors.
But, I mean, I would, I got to thinking about doing one in reds,
Oh gosh, that would be pretty.
red and white. Wouldn't that be pretty? Mm-hmm.
This finishes to a 9-inch block, which is a really nice size block. We don't usually
We do a lot with,
8
you know,
or 10 or,
right, but 9 is the kind of that just right, kind of the Goldilocks.
the sweet spot there.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you're just sewing way ahead of me here, Pam Heller.
Okay, I think, Eric and I, have we ever sewed together? I think just for Chelsea's quilt.
Chelsea's quilt we sewed together. We
It's
went to
actually
a,
Lucas' quilt.
yes, we went to a retreat at our local quilt shop, a sew-along day, one day.
We did.
One time together. Oh, but I'm sewing these wrong. Okay.
Why are you
I
doing
wanna
that?
show, well, my tip here.
Oh, okay.
Let me back up here.
Hold,
I'm not
please.
sewing them wrong, I'm just sewing them so I can't see what I'm doing.
Okay.
So, as long as it's off, I'll press it. But, and my point's perfect, but to help ensure that I have that perfect point, I like to sew it with the solid, the new piece, going on the bottom.
She does.
That way, you can, as you're putting your block under the needle, you can make sure that you're not chopping off the tip of your square
And that is
as it goes under the needle.
that is typically what I do as well, but in this particular fabric, I can see the black underneath the orange.
Oh, well, there you go.
Okay? So look.
Look at you being
Okay.
all contrary.
Well, no, normally I do exactly what you do because you want those perfect things. But see, I can see the black under the orange. Sometimes we are just contrary, Erica.
We are.
All right, here we go. There we go. All right. So now let's talk about the AB units while Erica is finishing that one. Oh gosh, put your pieces back where they belong. Holy smokes. I tell ya.
Yes, don't
The other
lose
day,
them.
I grabbed a stack that I had been cutting and put them all in one bag, and it had like an A and an E and an F, and I was like, oh, no, no, no. Wait, hold please. Okay, so this one is gonna be fun, and I really am gonna show you how to lay the pieces out here. And again, I'm just gonna do 2, because then I can just chain piece. Okay. All right, so this is that diamond in a rectangle. Thanks, Kenyon. And this is shape A, which is right here. You want to make sure they're flat. And they're facing, see, look. Erica, I almost sewed this wrong,
Oh, no, no, no.
right? Because the thing. Okay, and now this is shape B. And I'm going to tell you, quilters, you have to cut 240 of these or some crazy number, right?
Yes.
But there's 2 on a die board, so it's okay, okay? So when you lay this out, here's what I did. I laid them out like this so that I know how to sew them. Because the other day, what was it doing? Oh, the pine bird die. I did it on camera. I sewed it wrong. Okay, so look. Now this is going to line up right here. Okay, see, we've cut out the end there, the dog ear. It's gonna line up perfectly right here along this edge, and that's how you're gonna sew it. And then you're gonna do the opposite side, and we're gonna do 2 at a time so you can see. You will do, I actually, Erica, did 20 at a time.
Oh,
Because
yes.
you need 140
I
or
did
something.
lots. Yes,
Yeah,
I
I did 20 at a
lots.
time, and then I pressed them. Because then you need to stand up and press, or you need to move and press.
Move, yes. We did, you don't forget to move, quilters.
Yeah.
Don't forget to move.
Just get up and move, because this was really a project that you didn't have to move. You could just sit like we're set up here. Hey, can we give a plug to Arrow Furniture?
Oh, yes, we're sitting at our lovely Arrow Furniture.
Our team, we got to give kudos to Chelsea and Kenyon, who set up our lovely studio here today.
Yes.
This is Arrow Furniture, and we have Arrow chairs, And they're available now on the AccuQuilt website. We joined forces with them last year.
Yes, last fall.
Yep, and we just love it. So if you're looking for a sewing table or a sewing chair, neither Erica nor I thought we needed a sewing chair until we sat in a sewing chair.
Oh, so true. My goodness.
So you can you can personalize it, right? You can choose from all different kinds
They've
of
got
patterns and
lovely different selections. You can see we're both sitting in different ones. Well, maybe you can't see, I don't know, but.
yeah. So check it out on the AccuQuilt website. Call the good folks at Arrow if you have any questions. Tell them Pam and Erica sent you.
That's right.
Okay, so I'm giving this a little press on the back. Then I can just press this away towards the white. Press towards the white. Okay. Then when you see it on this side, I like to give it a little press down.
Boy, this is a brand new iron. We have two of the colors of the Aliso, the new model of the Aliso irons. Pam's, I think, using the pistachio.
Pistachio.
And I'm using the aqua.
Do you know, I am not a fan of pistachios. I will eat them if they're the only nuts left. But I don't think, oh, I should have pistachio nuts. Fun fact about me.
Fun fact about Pam, okay.
In case you wondered what was happening here.
So then again, I'm ready to line up, to come back and line up my next piece. There we go. Line up my next piece. And again, the dog ears are gonna line up perfectly, so they're gonna keep me on track.
And people ask all the time, are you sewing a 1/4-inch seam? Are you sewing a scant 1/4-inch seam? What are you sewing? And the answer is you're sewing a true 1/4-inch seam. If you don't have a 1/4-inch seam or a 1/4-inch foot on your sewing machine, get you one.
And even if you have a 1/4-inch foot, you still sometimes need to go ahead, if you're having an issue, check that 1/4-inch seam. Maybe
Yeah, we'll just watch.
If it's one of those feet with a blade on it, maybe it's gotten bent. You just never know. Plus,
Check your needle.
thread, your needle can be bent a little bit. That can affect it as well.
You should change your needle every time you finish a project.
Okay, well that assumes that we finish projects.
Yes, this is true.
This is my problem with that.
Maybe before you start a new project.
Before you
That's a better.
start a new project, yes. I
better.
try to whisk out, do a little brush out of my bobbin case every time I
Oh.
change my bobbin too.
Yes.
And yet my machine is in need, my home machine is in need of a spa day.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's something to, I mean, we never talk about that, but quilters, don't think you're just going to be able to sew every day for years and years and not give a little cleanup love. Even if you're whisking out underneath the bobbin case, there are still places where there's
There's
schmutz
gunk. Yeah.
that is you are not seeing. There's little fuzzies.
Casey, I took mine in the other day to have Casey clean it, and he just chastised me a little bit. He's like, I don't know what you've been sewing, but there was lots of stuff here. Oh, I missed the side here.
I will hear the same thing when I take mine in to get cleaned, I am sure.
So we're just lining up the corners. We're sewing 1/4-inch seams. And then in a second here, we'll talk about the other square and square units. Do you have one sewn already? You do, good.
I do.
Then we can show them how to put together a
We
block.
can. All the things, I do, we can.
Yeah. Don't forget, quilters, these are all recorded, so if you need to come back and say, what, how are they sewing those? You can
How are they
watch.
pressing them?
How are they pressing?
So Pam was she did her due diligence in figuring out pressing.
I did. Because you really try to want to make it lay as flat as you can.
You do. So another tip would be, and we don't have them on the set, but we have wooden clappers.
We do.
And this is a great time to be using your clappers, especially when we get to sewing our units together.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to move this here so people can see what we're doing.
All right. So the last unit we're going to sew together, you get,
Well, we already have them sewn together. Should we just talk about it? Because it's the same
it is
square
the
in the
same.
square. Yes.
So it is the same unit, it's just a smaller one.
It's just bitty.
So you're going to sew it the exact same way. You're going to go opposite sides, press them to the outside, opposite sides, press them to the opposite side, and keep going.
Yep.
So
And these are
then-
little pieces, keep track of them, because I lost about 10 of them because they attached to something else.
I'm going to move my little baskets full of pieces. I
Okay.
really have been enjoying using the basket and tray method
I
to
think
keep
that's
my
fun.
track of my pieces. Okay. So we're going to need a couple of these
Yeah.
to sew our block together. So you're going to put your
Excuse me.
sew your side unit on, right?
Yes.
Check me if I'm
Yes.
okay.
So each of the square and a square units are sewn to a triangle or a diamond and a rectangle unit.
Right. So we're going to sew that together. Then you're going to sew the top piece together,
Yep.
which is
and
going
one
to
is
be
vertical and one is horizontal.
this way.
Yeah.
So we're going to sew this together and sew this together
Yep.
now.
Yep.
So, okay. Are you making one block or two?
I'm just going to make one because I can chain piece, right? We can just do the top and the
chain
bottom.
piece.
Yeah. And again, you quilters, if your points aren't coming together perfectly, look at your 1/4 inch seam, spend a little time. It's too pretty of a quilt to not have your seams line up. And I am doing a little back stitch here, Erica. Are you doing a little back
well,
stitch?
I have not been, but I should. I did earlier. And that's just because I get so irritated when things start to unsew on me.
Yes. Oh, there we go.
My back stitch button and I on my home machine are, I don't know, I did something.
Ah, there you go.
I'm sure it's a user error.
Okay. All right, so now that I'll let Erica finish here, and then we'll talk about pressing.
Okay. Go for it.
Okay, so now we're gonna press towards that diamond and a rectangle unit so that our seams are going to nest. And remember, you have one vertical and one horizontal. So you'll notice here in the one that I did, the fabric had kind of a flow to it. So the centers, I made sure they were all going the right direction. And then the same with my diamonds here.
Oh,
So if you have like a pattern on your fabric,
Oh,
you might
yes.
want to noodle on how you want
you
to lay out your fabric.
You might want to do that.
Yeah. So, all right, here we go.
No wonder my iron wasn't hot enough. Okay, so I'm going to roll this over again. We're pressing towards our diamond.
Right.
And this would be an excellent place to use your clapper.
Yep. Ours are made locally here in Omaha.
They are.
Our nice guy
And
who
they
makes
have
them.
our branding on them. I love
Yeah.
them.
And they come in 2 sizes.
8 and 12, I think, right?
Pam and Erica's size. Okay.
Yes, yes.
I'm just saying.
Yeah,
just
yeah.
2 different sizes. I didn't say anything negative. All right.
My own daughter said, well, Pam isn't that much taller than you are. And I said, I stand on 2 inches worth of mats.
She does. She does.
When we're next to each other. She said, okay, Pam is that much taller
I
than you.
am, but it's okay.
Okay, so now we have pressed towards our diamond, so that's given us opposite directions, right?
Right,
So this
right.
one's going this way, this one's going this way. I can flip this and I can nest those seams.
Yes.
My favorite thing to do.
Yep.
So you can see right here how that's gonna ensure that perfect center point.
Yes, and you're gonna feel those, how they're gonna line up together underneath.
Now, I did find if you are having a little bit of trouble, you want to take your time, okay? This is not a race, because right on the edge where your shapes come together, but especially right here, you may want to use a stylus or your seam ripper or something to help you guide that through and keep a nice straight seam. Because I did notice that it was easy to go a little bit askew
Yes.
as you kind of go over that bump.
Right.
Because there is a little bit of, there's some fabric there.
There is.
And you know what? There's gonna be some fabric there.
There is.
That's just how it's gonna work.
Yeah.
Now, you pressed all of these towards which way?
So then, I actually waited until I put my row together. And then I pressed some up and some down.
Oh, I started doing that, and then I decided that I liked it pressed open.
Okay, go for it.
It doesn't nest that way for you, but
It
I
doesn't.
did, I don't know, I just felt like I liked the flatness that I got by
That's
doing
fair.
that. So really, what that means is, it's all up to you, quilters, whatever.
Now, quilters, you're gonna need a total of 35 of these blocks that we've sewn together. And don't panic. You're going to have extra A's and B's and extra C, D, and E units left over. These are for the outer and bottom border. And you will have one standalone, like the cheese, CD unit for the bottom right-hand corner of your quilt.
Okay,
All right? And look at how pretty these are.
they're so pretty.
All right, so what are we doing next week, Erica?
Next week, we are gonna put our rows together. We're gonna show you how to add those extra units
Yep.
to complete the design. And remember, if you wanna make your quilt bigger, you just need to make more blocks.
Right? Or you could do the double sashing between the rows. You could also make it smaller, maybe a laptop or a lap quilt.
Right,
And
right.
just use less blocks. Make it your own.
So ours is 5 across, 5 blocks across and 7 down.
Right.
Plus that side border and the bottom.
Right.
So maybe you just wanna do 5 by 5.
Yeah, you could totally
Go
do
for
that.
it.
Yeah. All right, just don't forget to share your blocks and your fabrics on the AQS Project Parade Facebook page. And again, if you have questions, Eric and I are in there. We can answer
Yes,
those.
and be sure to use hashtag AQSews whenever you post. It's gonna help us find them.
You'll also want to check out the AccuQuilt blog because the lovely Erica will have a post each Wednesday during the Quilt-Along going over the details from the day's events.
All right, AQS will also be updating their original blog post, so you can check that out as well.
Now, quilters, before we end part 2 of our Quilt-Along of the Go Classic Storm at Sea Throw quilt, we want to announce the winner of today's giveaway.
Oh, I almost forgot.
We have to give stuff away.
We have to give something away. The lucky winner today of $100 in AccuQuilt Rewards points is, drum roll please, Marilyn D. of Kerrville, Texas. Congratulations.
Marilyn, I've already put your $100 on your account associated with your email address.
Fantastic.
Well, I have to do it before, otherwise I forget.
Okay.
And quilters, don't forget, speaking of not forgetting, we have plenty of special offers available for you on our website. This includes the Go Turkey Giblets, which is our October Die to Try. It's only available at AccuQuilt.com or from your local retailer through the month of October or while supplies last.
So to get an order in right now, you just need to open a new tab in your browser, type in AccuQuilt.com/party to see current deals and place your order.
It's time for us to get ready for our next show. We hope that today's show is just what you needed to be inspired to sew your units and blocks together for the Go Classic Storm at Sea Throw Quilt.
We'll see you next time.
Thanks so much for watching. To learn more about your quilting craft, be sure to follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel for live events every Tuesday and Wednesday. You can check out the events page on the AccuQuilt website for more details on upcoming shows. And if you're looking for even more inspiration, visit our blog for exclusive tutorials filled with tips and tricks. And remember, at AccuQuilt, we help you cut time so you can quilt more. And be sure to join me every Wednesday at 12 noon Central Time for AccuQuilt Live. We have so much fun. Next time, Eric and I are going to continue with our quilt along by sewing together our rows and borders. Hope to see you there.